Oops. Let me pause this for a second. Sorry about that. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Twin Peaks Thought of the Day for Saturday, May 20th, 2017. We are here. We are one day away from the premiere of the new Twin Peaks. I can't even believe it. In 24 hours, we will be watching the new show. Yep, it's pretty awesome, if you ask me. Tonight's going to be actually kind of a low-key personal night. I've reached out to a few people, invited them on if they're available, but sometimes it's hard to schedule people on Friday and Saturday night. So kind of doing an improv kind of thing. But again, I really just want to do something that's kind of just personal and something to tide us over until the new season starts less than 24 hours from now. It's pretty epic, if you ask me. Before we begin, though, I want to read you two quotes. One comes from David Lynch himself, and he says, he's talking about how people are really wanting to know everything about the new show before they've seen it. You know, because like I got a message today saying that there were a Reddit thread that came out that talked about some of the aspects of the premiere from last night and things like that. So Lynch came out and he delivered this quote. People want to know right up until the time they know, and then they don't care anymore. The whole thing is about the experience of going into the world of Twin Peaks and catching that mood and going on a trip. And this is a beautiful thing. It's a delicate world. I always say you should turn the lights down low, make sure there's no interruptions, get as big as a picture as you can, the best sound you can, and go for this experience. And this is a beautiful thing, a precious thing for me personally. I don't want to know what I'm going to see. I want to discover it on my own with no bullshit surrounding it. And that's really important. Could we say it any better? It's pretty amazing. Now, the next thing I'm going to quote is from a Mashable article that just came out. And I got to say, this gets me pretty excited. This does not go into any spoilers whatsoever, but you have to hear this because this is just music to our ears, or music in the air, as they say in the show. The writer says, here's what I do feel at liberty to say about what we saw. David Lynch has lost nothing. In fact, he's learned new tricks, refined some old ones, maybe even found the height of his powers. This new Twin Peaks is not mere revisitation. This is new ground broken. And if you feel goosebumps as you read this, good. You're going to need them because it is happening again. I'm speechless. In 24 hours, we're going to be right there as the 1,600 people who saw the first 2 hours last night did. And I cannot wait. I'm going to open up the chat right now and see how you guys are all doing tonight. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Dan O'Mano says the Reddit thing still said nothing. The one I saw. Well, that's great. But I was getting messages from people saying, oh, you know, stay off Reddit, stay off social media. So that's what I did. And I'm quite happy with that, actually. Okay. So where do we want to start? We want to start with comments and questions and talking about stuff, or do you want me just to start with the personal angle? I guess we'll just start with this. I have right here I got one actually missing, but this is the original broadcast of Twin Peaks. You can tell with the red from on the labels there. This is from the original broadcast. This is still in very good working condition. At the start of this video, I played the season 2 premiere introduction, which all those introductions were not included on the gold box and the Blu-ray sets and things like that. So wanted to share what it was like the last time a season of Twin Peaks premiered on television. All right, so for some reason, I mean, I know why, but just because I like the look of it and the look of the tape's quality itself. But I always tape them on the Scotch. What is this? The T120s. Yeah, and I would put 5, for the most part, 5 episodes on a tape because I didn't want to do 6 just in case one ran over on the time. And then it would shut off. So I would always do 5. So I gave myself like an hour buffer room on the tapes here. Let me see if I can focus this. This is okay, cool. So yeah, so I always did a buffer time, and also sometimes I wouldn't be home, so I'd have to program the VCR, and so sometimes I would program it 5 to 10 minutes early before an episode just to make sure I got everything. And believe it or not, I even got like a bunch of the commercials for Twin Peaks, which is great. I remember one showed Andy, and it said Twin Peaks, the place where the odd get even. It's quite funny. But what I also did was I made these little pieces of paper, and I'd stick them on, on each tape, so I would kind of remember what each episode was. But it's funny to look back and see how I described the episodes. So the pilot here was Laura. Let's see if I can focus it here. Laura's body, and then episode 1. I put 2 just because I don't know. Back then, I didn't know the pilot was the pilot. I just thought it was episode 1. So episode 2 was the necklace, of course, when Jacoby takes the necklace out of the coconut. 3 is the dream. 4 is funeral. And 5 is Waldo. Obviously, when they figure out that Waldo is the Mina bird. Then tape 2. Now, episode 5 and 6, they aired, they did air it separately, but then they also repeated it as a 2-hour film. So I recorded it as the 2-hour film. And then so episode 1 on this tape is so it wasn't the fact that I was labeling it episode 1, 2, and 3. It was episode 1 of the tape. Okay, so that makes sense why I didn't say pilot. Episode 1, let's see if I can focus this here. All right, Leo shot what's the other thing? Audrey Lonely and One-Eyed Jacks. And then the next one says One-Eyed Jacks and Surprise Ending. Obviously, that's when Cooper was shot. And then number 3 is a beginning of 2nd season, Bob. And the tape's not in there because I was playing it for you guys a few seconds ago. Tape 3. This is begins with the 2nd episode of season 2, and it says episode 1, Madeline's vision, and the owls are not what they seem, because that's when Major Briggs comes to Cooper's room, and then Madeline's vision, of course, is the Bob climbing over the couch. Episode 2, what does it say? Albert's speech. Yeah, obviously that's the Gandhi and King speech he gives to Sheriff Truman. Number 3 is Harold and more Bob searching. It's kind of funny. And then number 4 is Rescue Audrey. Yeah, Rescue Audrey. And number 5 is David Lynch and what does it say? David Lynch and the One-Armed Man's Riddle. I remember that's when he says, a house made of wood, and each alike, but occupied by different souls night after night. And I thought that would be the end of the episode. But then when Cooper goes, the Great Northern Hotel, I was like, oh my God, they actually answered the riddle. They didn't just leave us with the riddle. So that was kind of fun. All right, so tape 4. We all know what this is. Spoilers. Episode 1, Leland kills Madeline. Episode 2 is discovery of Madeline's body, right? Number 3 is what is it? The solving of Laura's murder. And then number 4 is Cooper and Truman goodbye. Obviously, he didn't say goodbye. And then number 5 is Cooper still was it prosecuted by the FBI, and Andrew Packard returns. I remember right after that episode, it was Thanksgiving. Let's see. All right, so Twin Peaks 5. All right, so we're getting into the dicey episodes, as people like to refer to them. We have episode 1, Cooper, real estate, James and Evelyn, and Little Nicky. Episode 2 is Jean Renault and Wyndham Earl. Episode 3 is Wyndham Earl. And was it Leo Johnson returns? That was a good episode. Episode 4 is Albert Rosenfeld, Josie Packard, Wyndham Earl, and Ben Horn becomes sane. That's kind of funny. And then episode 5 just says Josie and Bob. Obviously, that's the infamous doorknob episode. All right. Then tape 6 is the last 6 episodes. Well, I mean, it's the beginning of the last 6 episodes. So episode 1 is Harry's depressed and Cooper and Annie meet. Episode 2 is, I just wrote one of the best, just watch and enjoy. That's what I wrote. Because that was when David Lynch comes back and Cooper gets reinstated in the FBI, and they do that great scene in the double R with the pie, and Cooper's with Annie and stuff. It's wonderful. Episode 3, Cooper and Annie and Major Briggs will help. And episode 4 says giants warning and everyone shaking. Because that's when everyone's doing that thing. And then tape 7, sadly, 2-hour episode, the end. And there it is. There's the Twin Peaks broadcast. And I had to protect those for years. I mean, obviously, they're still great quality, but oh my God. I mean, yeah, we had that VHS box set that came out in the mid to late 90s, but that was even worse quality than taping them off TV. So I had to hold on to these until the gold box. But then the gold box, like the episode 14 where Leland kills Madeline, for some strange odd reason, it's an alternate cut that did not air on TV. There's one scene right before Leland kills Madeline. For one reason or not, there's like an extra 2 shots that are added to the episode that are not in the TV broadcast and not on the Blu-ray set. And it threw me the first time I saw it, because I was like, what it's cut differently. And it is. And I've never been able to figure out how that happened. It's so bizarre. Anyway, all right, let's see if any comments here. People are saying there's a Yahoo report that they feel said too much about the premiere. So yes, stay away from the Yahoo report. Yes, I don't know. JB says, I did the same thing. Those Scotch VHS tapes. Yeah, they were really great quality. Reggie says, I like those titles more than Netflix ones. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I wasn't really trying to title them. I was just trying to remember like what they were at the time. And they just stuck. And I love the fact that they're still on the tapes. Jay says, talk about the implications of Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive reportedly being in the Twin Peaks universe. Are you saying officially reportedly, or are you saying it's just fan talk? Because from what I understand, it's just fan speculation, only because people assume that this very well might be David Lynch's last movie or last, visual art he does in terms of filmmaking or television. And if that's true, then even though he's acknowledged the fact that his films are all connected, I think he acknowledges they're connected by him. He made them, so they're, that's the common denominator. But there has been a little, hey, don't you think, this connects to this and this connects to this, and who knows, maybe they connect some of them. I think it'd be really weird if they did. I mean, I hope it connects to at least Twin Peaks. Fire Walk with Me. I don't want it to just be its own standalone thing that creates its own thing that it's like there's Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, and then this new series that kind of is Twin Peaks but not. But it sounds like it sounds amazing. I mean, if I can go, I mean, I don't really pay attention to Mashable all that much, but if what the Mashable author just wrote is true, oh, it's going to be a lovely ride. I know Vulture wrote an article today too that started talking about some of the things that we've been kind of discussing this week of what do you think the fan reaction is going to be versus the common person reaction on Showtime is going to be. And while maybe none of that is it's not going to affect us. I mean, we're like David Lynch Twin Peaks ultra fans. But it is just an interesting conversation because we're talking about the world of Twin Peaks, both inside the show and outside the show. So that's where a lot of those discussions come out. I mean, frankly, I could care less if the whole world hates the new Twin Peaks and I love it. I'm going to stand by it. But I'm just curious because I felt like so burned during that original show in terms of like the public being interested and the public not being interested, or like I've said before many times that I was 14 when the show was on, and at that time, every person at my school was watching the first season of Beverly Hills 90210, and I wasn't. I think I saw like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, but I didn't watch it. Just, I don't know, I wasn't that interested. Actually, believe it or not, a few years later, watched a season or two, but the first year, didn't watch it. And everybody at that school thought I was the weird one because I watched this weird show called Twin Peaks. I was the one that went and saw Wild at Heart 5 times in the theater. I got a lot of crap at school. People talk today about being bullied and stuff like that. Looking back, I can say that I was bullied for being a David Lynch fan. Yeah, and I didn't like throw it in people's faces. I wasn't like, oh, David Lynch is the best and everything you like sucks. No, I was just like, hey, have you guys seen Wild at Heart? It's a great film. And or Twin Peaks is fantastic. You would really enjoy it. It's got a lot of elements that almost everybody can find something to love about it. And people just made fun of me, seriously, about it. I mean, they were just like, it was really hard for a while. And then, of course, when Twin Peaks was suffering the ratings, people were like, see, your show sucks. And but I'll never forget though. There was one time, there's one kid, there was a couple kids at that school that were secretly watching the show because when they solved Laura's murder, I remember going into one of the bigger buildings where like it was like a auditorium, and we were going to have some assembly. And one of the kids came up to me and said, "Cameron, is the show over?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "But they solved Laura's murder." And that's when I knew that some people were watching it and they weren't letting me in on the fact that they were watching it because they obviously didn't want to have that kind of talk being thrown at them. So, but it was interesting because later on that year, Wild at Heart came out on VHS and people could rent it. And people would come up to me every once in a while, like in the library during study hall or something, and say, "Hey, I rented Wild at Heart. That was really good." And I was like, "Yeah." But, for like 2, 3, 4 months, it was, oh, we're going to go see, Young Guns 2, and you're going to go see Wild at Heart. But I saw Young Guns 2 as well. Hell, I mean, I saw Wild at Heart 5 times in the theaters. Let me think. The first 3, it was just the film Solo. The last 2, it was amazing. The theater played it double feature with Pump Up the Volume. And I just thought that was just the best double feature I had seen up until that point. I had seen other ones. I mean, I'd seen Dirty Dancing and La Bamba. That was a good one. I saw Dragnet and Adventures in Babysitting, things like that. But Pump Up the Volume, Wild at Heart, double feature when you're 14 years old, mind blower. So, all right. Let's see. Oh, Jay says, for instance, the similarity between Pete Dayton and this is about Lost Highway, Pete Dayton and James's infatuation with the blonde and her brunette twin. Well, I mean, I've been saying for a long time that least the second half of Lost Highway is inspired partly by the James and Evelyn story. It's just kind of more amped up, obviously. Reggie says, James's video from today was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Well, I'm glad you liked it. He invited me on. James did a video on his channel, the Hurley Journey Vids channel. And his videos are called Twin Peaks Coffee Time. I think so. I think that's like the consistent title he goes with. And he invited me on. And so I was happy to do it. I had some time. And, his videos are very different than mine just because they just kind of talk about whatever they want to talk about, regardless if it says Twin Peaks or not. And so I was just kind of there and listening. And then finally, like, I had some things I had to go do and I was like, all right, I got to go. And James was like, oh, come on, don't go. We'll talk about Twin Peaks. And I'm like, no, I really got to go. But yeah, some of his videos and some of his discussions, I go, oh my goodness. I mean, he doesn't, you think he's out of control sometimes on my videos? Go watch his where he hosts them. I mean, that's they're quite something. All right. But some of the conversations are a lot of fun, and then other times I just shake my head like I can't even go there, James. I can't even do it. So anyway, yeah, I had to leave partway through, but it was good stuff. He's a funny guy. Michael says, I just hope they answer the big question. What happened to Cooper's trench coat? I'm interested in knowing what is up with that green suit Kyle was wearing in some of those behind the scenes stills. Jan says, I don't know if I can sleep tonight. I am so excited. You don't think you can sleep tonight? Wait till tomorrow. You're going to be up till like midnight and you're going to be just like so jazzed. You're not going to be able to sleep. Last night's podcast went to almost 1 o'clock in the morning for me. And it was mostly, I did it late, kind of like what I'm doing now, but I usually go to bed early because I have to get up early. But the last 2 nights I've been kind of trying to get myself used to staying up a little bit later because I know tomorrow I'm going to have to be. So that's kind of like why I've been doing the podcast a couple hours later than normal. William says, I'm trying to decide when to try to sleep until it starts. Yeah, I mean, definitely take a nap, but make sure you have that alarm set. And it's funny though, because I was joking around yesterday and I was thinking it might be a good idea, but I don't know if anyone's available, and I certainly don't want to do it all by myself for that long. But I thought, wouldn't it be great to kind of wake up in the morning, get some breakfast, chill out for a little bit, and then maybe around 10 a.m. start doing one of these podcasts and not stop until 5 minutes before the premiere, so that all of us Twin Peaks fans can gather when we have a moment, or, if you have nothing else to do, throw it on your TV while you're cleaning the house or something like that. And we could do like a Twin Peaks, pre-show countdown hour by hour until we get to 5 minutes before. And I'll say, all right, guys, enjoy it. And off we go. So that'd be like an 8-hour straight podcast. I don't know. That's so insane and would eat up my whole weekend, but it could be a lot of fun too. I don't know. I want to have other people on the podcast with me. Maybe people can come and go. But I don't know. Maybe that would just be a little bit insane. Maybe I'll have to find another screenplay to read or something to eat up the time. I had a joke because Debbie said to me the other day, and she's been on this podcast a few times. Excuse me. She said, okay, you read the Fire Walk With Me script. Are you going to read The Secret Diary next? And I was like, no, Cheryl Lee's already done that. I'm not doing it, but maybe I'll read Cooper, My Secret, My Tapes. That would be something. Let's see. JB says, when do you think you will review the first 4 episodes? In an ideal world, tomorrow? But I don't know, because I went to bed last night at like 1:30 in the morning. I didn't wake up till 8:30. And I'm going to have to be up on Monday morning at 5 a.m. So I don't know when when I'm going to be able to see. I mean, if I'm going to watch the 4 episodes, but depending on what time I see them, I don't know when they're going to drop. I mean, I've heard between 10 and midnight, but is that Eastern time and then Pacific time they drop online earlier? Then yeah, then I'll do them that night. The plan is to do them tomorrow night. I don't know if I'll do like a 2-hour, 3-hour video tomorrow night. I might just do maybe quick 5-minute, 10-minute like initial reactions, maybe, and then Monday night start with the discussions. That might be, it just all depends on the time, but that might be the way I do it. Calvin says, I'm going in with the expectation of the show being a disappointment. That way, if it is a disappointment, I'm prepared. And if it's great, it's great. So win-win. Yeah, there's a few people doing that, actually. Leonard, who's usually in the chat, he says that too. He's like, I'm not going to even go in there thinking it's any good. So some people saying, I'll watch a multi-hour countdown. Thank you. I'm still kind of thinking about it, but it might happen, at least for a few hours at least. Reggie says, that's a great idea. You and James should do a fire walk with me commentary too. Yeah, I don't know about tomorrow, but maybe. I mean, we could do something. I remember in 1999 when I was standing in line for the Phantom Menace. Well, some friends were standing in line. I was standing with them. I was like, I cannot stand in line for 12 straight hours where I was. So I actually went into the theater and saw the movie Election and then came out of the theater and got back in line. So, all right, let me check because I'm going to see. I know Eric was saying that he might be able to stop in tonight, and that would be wonderful. Let's see. Okay. Jay says, oh, and on Lost Highway, what do you think happened to Dayton in front of his house that shocked his parents and girlfriend? I got an alien abduction vibe with the fleeting vaginal imagery. Well, Lost Highway is one of those movies that you can pretty much decipher however you want. It can mean whatever you want it to mean. So, but all right, so I haven't got any messages yet from Eric. Hopefully someone can pop in here. Otherwise, just gonna be you and me, guys, and hopefully that's not too boring, because sometimes I feel like I need somebody with me, and then other times other people say, no, it's great, it's fine, whatever you want to give us. I'm like, okay, but it's just weird for me to be just talking to random camera all the time. All right, so but okay, so at that school that I was talking about, where nobody watched Twin Peaks and all that stuff, there was around Christmas time, we had to do Secret Santa, and you put your names in the hat and everybody picks a name, and then you get a present for that person. Well, this kid named Josh, Joseph, I see you saying, is there a way I could join the video conversation? Yeah, you know what, if you guys are interested in joining on the conversation, I did this last night, but I'll do it again tonight. Send in email to obnoxiousandanonymous@hotmail.com. Just subject podcast and let me know you're interested in coming in, and I'll send you the link and come on in. All right, so Secret Santa, Christmas. I got somebody, and so I got them. I can't remember what I got them, but this kid named Josh, who I had known since elementary school, he was at the same school with me, because this was a private school, and he and I mean, we got along. I mean, we weren't like enemies or something, but I remember in elementary school, especially like 5th, 6th grade or whatever, we both kind of liked similar girls in the class. Not that we were in competition really, but you just kind of knew that, oh, he liked her too, and he was more you know, he was kind of the kid that wore the Bugle Boy jeans and the no socks and the loafers, even in the 80s. So I was like, you know, I never stood a chance against him, especially with my awkwardness back then, I'm sure. But anyway, he ended up getting my name. And of course, I didn't know this until the day. And, you know, a lot of people would like, you know, buy a little this or buy a little that. And it's nice. That's wonderful. This kid, Josh, I mean, he spent a lot of time. I mean, you know, again, keep in mind you're 14 years old, right? You don't have a lot of time and patience and that kind of thing. But he made, I mean, I can't believe I still have it and it's a little wrinkly now, but he actually made me let me see if I can get this in the picture. He made me this Twin Peaks scrapbook. And at that point, I was not collecting anything from newspapers or magazines about the show. But this is what started me collecting things about it. And what was nice was that he filled up a bunch of stuff, but he also left a lot of blank pages for me to add stuff. And of course, now I have so many things that like it doesn't even it barely fits in my closet. But I just thought this was super, super nice, especially when I was getting teased and ridiculed for even liking the show, that this kid who was considered one of the most popular kids in the school made this for me. And so I never forgot that. I always thought that was really great. And he found some crazy stuff too, like this one about naked Lynch. And it says, in the basement of a high school near Seattle, David Lynch was building an altar. Not a full-fledged altar, just a little mound of dirt and a pile of found objects and candles designed to look, says Lynch, like some strange ceremonies have been taking place there. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. All right. Yeah, and then of course I put a lot of Wild at Heart stuff in there because that was happening at the time. And then this is cool where it says Twin Peaks, new mysteries, new day, fresh donuts. Says Agent Cooper. Can he stop Wyndham Earl, his ex-partner, before he kills again? Audrey Horne. She's found a new flame, but she could be the next murder victim. Lucy. Who is the real father of her child? And then Owl, and there's an owl there, and it says Bob. Will he strike again? Then it says Twin Peaks. Have a party. David Lynch. That's fantastic. Look at this though. TV Guide. I don't know if you can see this kind of, but I'll read it to you. It says Jeers. They used to do this thing called Cheers and Jeers. And this one says Jeers. So obviously thumbs down to the last episode of Twin Peaks. Knowing that after 2 seasons, the show is not coming back, creators David Lynch and Mark Frost chose not to tie up Peaks' legion of loose plot ends, but instead introduced a half dozen others. Who died when Thomas Eckert's bomb went off in the bank? What will happen to Norma and Ed now that Nadine has come to her senses? Will Ben Horne's collision with the Haywards fireplace end his checkered career? And most annoyingly, how will Agent Cooper remain the show's star hero now that he's been taken over by Killer Bob? Given its idiosyncrasies, I can't even say that word right now, idiosyncrasies, Twin Peaks was never going to appeal to a mass audience. But it did find favor with a small, dedicated group who relished its weirdness. In the end, Frost and Lynch couldn't even play fair with them. Wow. And look, we may not agree, but I understand how someone could feel that way. Let's see. Yeah, this is before the second season premiered. It says another fit of Peaks. David Lynch's moody, suspenseful television drama returns this Sunday. Oh, look, we have more stuff about the finale of Twin Peaks. It says tweaking Twin Peaks one last time. Andy from Rhode Island says, I had the same reaction watching the last episode of Twin Peaks that I have had all during this final season. The program lost its sense of humor and sense of direction. The bizarre visuals became predictable. boring and headache-inducing. More importantly, the writing became very pedestrian, losing its satiric edge and resorting to pathetic comic situations, i.e., the Miss Twin Peaks contest. Dan from New York says, a cliffhanger for a canceled series? How could David Lynch play such a nasty trick on all of the Peaks freaks? What happens to Agent Cooper? Did Ben Horn die? Does Leo escape the deadly spiders? Will we ever find out? Oh, I think we're going to find out, all right. And this is nice. This is actually, I believe it's just season 1. But they do this whole, like, who's who, how everybody's connected. Super awesome. And then it says down here, other players. And there's Bob, Dwarf, Finger, Pop, and Fraud, it says. even Wilson Mooney, the Hank Jennings lawyer, is in this down here. That's kind of funny. But yeah. And then this one says, like nothing on earth, David Lynch's Twin Peaks may be the most original show on TV. And I just loved it. I mean, when you're 14 years old and you see a director that confident looking, you just got to respect him. Well, by the way, I got a message today from somebody. I don't know who it was, but I guess they watched one of the videos from a few days ago, and they said that that we're idiot fans and we know nothing about Twin Peaks, and we don't even deserve to watch the new season. So I want to thank you for all your support. Now we know Jennifer Lynch, right? She's been interviewed on this channel. You've seen her probably other interviews and Facebook and that type of thing, and we know her with the dreads and all this. Look at her this is 1990 Jennifer Lynch. Whoa, look at that. She still is, but I mean, she's absolutely gorgeous in that picture. And she says, her dad asked her to pen The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, now in stores. She says, I tried to get the idea of who Laura was and what she might be thinking, recalls Lynch 22. It was like, and I don't mean this in the Exorcist sense, a possession. While some have winced at the book's explicit sex, like my mom, when she got it for me for Christmas and put it in my stocking, she's like, I don't know if you should have that book. Lynch stands by her vision of the pre-saran wrap Palmer. This is Laura. She was a dangerous hotsy-totsy. I used that word a lot when I was younger. Hotsy-totsy, just from reading this article. It says, next Lynch debuts as writer-director of Boxing Helena. She says, David taught me to be unafraid of new ideas. When things appear to be bizarre, he says, this is reality with a slice of lime. Oh, I love it. I love it. This is the kind of stuff that just makes me love these people, love the world, love just, Twin Peaks isn't just a show, people. It's definitely a way of thinking. It is a way of life. It's people like to quote that line that Cooper says, every day, once a day, give yourself a present. That's great advice. It super is. Oh, and there's the happy couple, Kyle and Lara Flamboyle at the time. Oh God, if only we knew what was happening behind the scenes. And here's David Lynch and Isabella Rossellini celebrating winning the Palme d'Or for Wild at Heart. And of course, his comic book strip, The Angriest Dog in the World, that ran for several years. Oh, this is something that Hal showed last night. This is November 10th, 1990. Was it? Yeah, November 10th, 1990. Finally, Saturday, November 10th, find out who killed Laura Palmer. Really, Twin Peaks. It's quite funny. They had to convince people to tune in because no one was watching. People talk about that after Laura Palmer's murder was solved, people jumped ship. Well, people jumped ship way before Laura Palmer's murder was even solved. So, yeah, here's they have this thing called Peak Speak. I think maybe I was Entertainment Weekly, and they just have some quotes in here, like Laura saying, "I just know I'm going to get lost in those woods again tonight." What a magical poetic line that is. Shelley writes or says, "I've got one man too many in my life, and I'm married to him." Just super great writing. All right, this is just the pimp David Lynch right here. I mean, look at this guy, dude. He is so happy. He is on cloud nine. 1990 was the best year for him, just in terms of just popularity. He was just like, oh my god, super awesome. Let's see. Oh, okay. Here's some stuff. Fellow Peaks Freak stuff here. I'm gonna read you. Let's see. Jonathan says, "I would rather be angry and confused week after week, left with images and questions in my head that linger for days, than can be drubbed mercilessly with inane quips and cutesy kids on countless banal sitcoms." And Dean says, "If nobody cares about Twin Peaks anymore, then who's been buying all the copies of Laura Palmer's Diary? It has been near the top of the bestseller list for weeks." And Susan from Michigan writes, "Twin Peaks is obviously not your cup of tea, but to its followers, it's one damn fine cup of joe." All right, there's a few others here. Anne Renee says, "I generally don't watch television, but Twin Peaks has me entranced. The blend of horror and humor that David Lynch and Mark Frost dish up isn't for everyone. Some of my friends can't understand why I'm laughing every couple of minutes with all the skullduggery going on, but it is definitely for me." Tommy writes, "Your story mentioned that a lot of people have a vested interest in the series' failure. I suspect that these individuals are probably sitcom writers who know that if Twin Peaks really catches on, their cliched writing will be out of style. Well, these writers don't have to worry about being out of work. I've got the perfect jobs for them. Since they write for people with the minds of 5-year-olds, why not write children's books? They need to reach an audience that will appreciate their work." And Aaron says, "Why was it necessary for director David Lynch and the writers of Twin Peaks to fall back on woman killing in order to introduce television audiences to the town of Twin Peaks? Why are torture, rape, and murder still tolerable preludes to an evening of stylish entertainment?" Dun dun dun. Oh, look, and then there used to be a magazine called Video Review, which I loved. And I remember I cut out their review of the Industrial Symphony, and they gave it 2 stars. They basically said, where is it? On video, it has its moments, but overall, one is left with the impression that you had to be in the theater to appreciate it. And of course, we've seen this, Entertainment Weeklies, Cooper and Audrey. It's kind of iconic. September 14th, 1990. Let's see. Oh, this is great. This is David Lynch's Weird America here. This is about Wild at Heart, but still, it's kind of funny. It says, "Wild at Heart, David Lynch recently conceded, is not a film for everyone. Maybe he's right. It begins with the hero bashing open the skull of a black who pulls a knife on him. After a brief prison term, he elopes cross-country with the girl he was fighting over. They have frequent and fairly explicit sex along the way. Her mother, who it transpires, has tried to seduce him in a public toilet, sends several men to murder him. On the road, the lovers come across a bloody traffic accident. Meanwhile, a rich mobster sits on a toilet talking into his telephone as naked women attend him. During an armed robbery, one man is vividly decapitated, another has a hand shot off, and as he crawls around in his own blood trying to find it, a dog trots out the back door holding it in its teeth. At different points in the film, both mother and daughter vomit, and a man is murdered in a sort of voodoo rite. Oh, and the hero gets his nose swollen in a fist fight. I hope I haven't given you the wrong impression. Wild at Heart is a comedy. Oh my lord, that is so funny. So funny. But this is interesting here though. It says, and this is something that has to do with we've been talking about maybe how Twin Peaks is going to end, at least in this new incarnation. And a lot of us are thinking, yeah, it probably, if we were betting people right now, we're betting it's probably going to have some sort of happy ending in some way, shape, or form. But this is funny. Yeah, but this is back when the show was in its prime, and they wrote, they're talking about the Cooper's dream, and he wakes up and says, Sheriff, I know who killed Laura Palmer. No, it can wait till morning. They write, it's funny, but in a funny way. There are no mandatory laughs in Lynch's work. Even the broadest jokes seem to be private. Good and evil are clearly, even violently, distinguished. But otherwise, the normal and the abnormal keep close company, even within a single character. Lynch is so interested in loose ends for their own sake that it's almost impossible to conceive of a satisfying resolution for Twin Peaks. Well, they didn't give us a satisfying conclusion at the end. They left us with a ton of cliffhangers, and that's why the show is back after all these years. Okay, this is what I was talking about yesterday. Now, I know I showed this on a podcast a while ago with Eric, but let me just throw this out to you. This is back when Fire Walk With Me was being announced. And it says, big screen Twin Peaks promises heaps of shrieks. And this is fascinating because back then there was no internet, right? So outlets and magazines and newspapers and TV guides would be able to get the screenplays before the movie came out, and they would report on it. And I mean, this one says, TV Guide took a sneak peek at the screenplay for Fire Walk With Me and found Lynch's tools of trade, titillation, mutilation, and deviation in tip-top form. Wow. Yeah. Well, we read the script the other night, and there's definitely a lot of aspects that did not make it in the final film, and not just the missing pieces stuff either. Remember that there was a whole part where Leland accosts Ronette right in front of Laura. Well, that didn't happen in the movie. It says, series fans will be relieved to know that almost all of the major characters will appear on the big screen, with the addition of David Bowie as a time-traveling FBI agent. Despite talk that Agent Dale Cooper was going to be phased out, he does play a major role in the film. Though his partner in crime fighting, Sheriff Harry Truman, returns for only a minor stint. Out of the picture completely is sultry sex kitten Audrey Horne. I remember reading that going, what a bummer. Audrey's gone, not in the show. And I just love, this is Wild at Heart, but look at that pose. My God, the way Sailor and Lula and Nicolas Cage, Laura Dern, is fantastic. Just epic characters. Yeah, this was something Hal was talking about yesterday. This is the Time magazine, David Lynch, the Wild at Art genius. And look at what he's doing with his eyes. it's fantastic. Oh, here's another Lula Sailor picture. It's funny. Oh yeah, here it is. This is when Wild at Heart came out. Here it says opens this week. Although Twin Peaks fans will not discover who killed Laura Palmer in David Lynch's long-awaited release, the film promises to be eerie and entertaining. And then it says, today's yellow brick road leads straight to hell. Yeah. And people said Wild at Heart wasn't well liked by the critics. Oh no, the critics liked it. There were some critics that didn't like it, but for the most part, they liked it. Let's see here. All right, so this comes from the Time magazine. That the Wild at Heart Genius one. This is when Twin Peaks was coming back. So this was the first shot that got revealed of Cooper on the ground. Then of course they had the Log Lady and the Giant and Audrey. And it says new, the Giant. It's pretty awesome. It says some people want to know who killed Laura Palmer. The Twin Peaks homecoming queen with a past, the identity of whose murderer has been kept secret nearly as long as Jimmy Hoffa. Says more people, it seems, want to know about David Lynch's eating habits. How many cups of coffee, milk, gobs of sugar does he drink each day? Yeah, but I mean, they're just talking about how he was just, he had the Twin Peaks and Wild at Heart and the Industrial Symphony and the comic strip, and man, he was just everywhere. And Foxy, that show on Fox that was coming out, which I think it lasted like 1 or 2 episodes. But yeah, they have retrospective stuff: Elephant Man, Dune, Blue Velvet. There he is shooting Wild at Heart. Yeah. Oh, there's Rolling Stones thing for Wild at Heart. The Wizard of Odd, they called it. Yeah, I don't think they. Yeah. Well, they did like it, actually. They said even over the rainbow, he finds his own truth. That's very nice. Look at this epic picture. This is Leland in jail. That's pretty awesome. And look at Lynch there. Oh my goodness, what a badass he is. I mean, this is the guy that looks like he's in total control of what he is doing and putting on film. Amazing. Let's see. Let's see. It says, "Oh, Wild at Heart. When Defoe's head is blown off, Lynch shows it flying through the air." That's like one of the big lines here in Premiere Magazine. When Defoe's head is blown off, Lynch shows it flying through the air. Isabel Rossellini says this about Wild at Heart here. Let's see. Where is it? I think she says something like, well, I think, one of the things she brings up is she says, that scene in Blue Velvet when Dennis Hopper takes Kyle MacLachlan and Isabel Rossellini to Dean Stockwell's house. She says basically that was the most surreal moment she felt in Blue Velvet. She says that mood is Wild at Heart, the entire movie, which I know what she's meaning, but it's not that mood all the way through, but I know what she's getting to. That the fact that it's all like kind of surreal and stuff. But here's a Rolling Stone picture of David Lynch back then. And this is back when Lara Flynn Boyle was being talked about as being the next like star in movies and TV. I think we all know what happened with that, unfortunately, for her and for her. Oh, here's Laura Dern, 1990. Hello. This is, when people discovered her in Jurassic Park, I remember thinking, what are you guys talking about? Did you not see Smooth Talk? Did you not see Blue Velvet? Did you not see Wild at Heart? Did you not see Mask? Oh my God, she's adorable on Mask. Yeah. So anyway, and then this is just super awesome. This little thing that a 14-year-old put together for me for Secret Santa in high school. That's awesome. Super cool. I have a bunch of other things we can go through as well, but let me check the chat and see if there's any new comments and questions. And I think there was a couple people that were interested in joining in on the discussion. So let me see about that. Move up here a little bit. Let's see. Okay, Joseph says he sent an email. Okay, give me a few minutes to get to you. Okay, Ariston says it's pretty fucking awesome. I'm assuming it's about the scrapbook. JB says, yeah, the scrapbook gift is cool. Reggie says, that's awesome. The old marketing has a completely different vibe to it. Reggie's saying, damn, she's hot. Okay, I guess he's talking about Jennifer Lynch. Reggie says, Boxing Lane worth a watch. Read pretty mixed reviews. Oh, I like it. I like it. It sometimes feels a little bit more like a Showtime Red Shoe Diaries episode, but because it's definitely not moody like a David Lynch film because it's Jennifer Lynch. So I like it for what it is. I do enjoy it, and is it a perfect film? No, but I don't think it's the disaster that everybody says it is. I mean, I'm kind of convinced that because of the Kim Basinger lawsuit that came out of it, and the fact that Lynch had just had Fire Walk with Me and On the Air and Hotel Room and all those disasters, that even if people liked Boxing Elena, they were kind of gunning for the Lynches at this moment. Also, Jennifer Lynch does something towards the end of Boxing Elena that sometimes irritates film goers. And I don't want to go into it because it's spoilers, but we all don't like that trope. However, she maintains that she only agreed to do the movie if that trope was in there. So that was her decision. I just think for a lot of people, that's what divides. If the movie had not had that moment, I think there would be more people in its favorable camp. Robert says, when exactly did viewers begin to lose interest? Oh, I've said it a million times. The opening of season 2, and then that whole episode. After that, people started dropping like flies, and it only got worse as it went on. And then they solved the murder, and then that's when the big jump happened. But it was or big drop, but it was steadily declining every new episode, whereas season 1 increased its viewership with almost every episode. So yeah, it was the season 2 opener by most accounts. Yeah. Okay, so Michael agrees with me about Boxing Helena. I can't say what happens because it's a spoiler, but let's just say I enjoyed it until the end when something happened that made me so furious. I absolutely hated it. Kaisho's LP says, if Cooper gets out of the lodge and eventually ends up with someone, would you prefer Audrey or Annie or even Laura if she's somehow resurrected? Well, you bring up an interesting point. One of the unsung romances in Twin Peaks is between Cooper and Laura. And I think they were trying to suggest that in order for some law enforcement to, find a killer of a beautiful young woman, is that they become interested in their lives, who they are, who they were seeing, and they begin to kind of fall in love with the idea of this woman, and that makes the case more personal to them. And you can see that in the series. I mean, there's a moment where in the morgue, her hand is gets knocked off knocked off the table, and Cooper puts her hand back, and he's looking at Laura, and you get the vibe that he's looking at her and thinking, the only person between me and you is the killer. Who is that person? And then, of course, in the previous episode, when he's having the dream, what happens? Laura gets up and kisses him. So it's definitely something that is there. Let's see. Give me a second here. Just got to send this. If anybody's interested, like I said, in jumping on with me, please go ahead and send me an email at obnoxiousandanonymous@hotmail.com, and I will send you the link. So we had some good people on last night. We had Frank and Hal, and that worked out so well that I'm definitely inviting them back. Okay. All right, now let's see. Let's go back to the questions here. Thank you guys for being so patient. These are, when you do them live, when you're editing or when you record a video and then edit them, obviously you cut out this kind of stuff. But when you do them live, you're just kind of here. So I try to rush through those parts as fast as possible so I don't bore you guys too much. Donna says, I love Wild at Heart. I know so many people who hate it. Cowboy says, do you think they'll make another movie, like another Twin Peaks movie? No. And I think Lynch learned from that as well, because, you make the movie, you have to cut out so much because of all that. So so he went and decided that TV was the best way to do it, but TV obviously wasn't working out. So this cable thing worked out to the best of both worlds, apparently. All right, who do we have here?
I'm Joseph.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I am a huge Twin Peaks fan. And I am just so excited for the new season.
So when did you find the show?
I would say about a year and a half ago.
So you're a newbie.
Yes. And
as James would call you, a hipster.
And I just found it. I found it amazing.
What was amazing to you about it?
Just well, I first saw Eraserhead. For some reason at Costco they were selling it, and the Criterion version.
Right. And it's pretty amazing that Costco was selling that movie.
Yeah, it was a weird sighting. So I just had, it was for $20. So usually Criterions are a lot, so I felt like I needed that for my collection.
Right.
And so I watched that and I found it amazing. So I went onto Netflix and it was, I don't know how to explain it. It was amazing. I'm sorry, I keep saying that.
So you that was the first thing you saw?
Eraserhead, yes.
And then you went to what?
To Twin Peaks.
Okay, and you discovered that on Netflix or on the Blu-ray set, or how'd you do that?
Netflix.
Okay. And did you seek it out because it was made by the guy who did Eraserhead?
Yes.
Okay. So walk me through what you thought of the series when you started it.
I first thought I loved that it was something that you would see in like a soap opera kind of mix with which would become more surreal and paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like the characters are very majestic, and it had a very magical tone to it.
So what do you think about the new series so far, like what you've seen of it in terms of the marketing?
I think it's amazing. I think it's probably one of the best marketing tools they've used for any TV series, just to not show anything at all.
It's amazing that we're less than 24 hours away from the premiere and we know very, very little.
I think that's one of the best things about I liked that we don't know anything.
So how do you think they did it, besides the fact of the actors signing the non-disclosure agreements? How did they keep this pretty tight-lipped sealed?
I'm actually a little bit worried about it being like that.
How so?
Because I feel like you might get scenes that feel a little bit like shifting emotions that shift are just are really sad and then go to a really happy tone because the actors don't know what what tone they're trying to get,
because they were only given the scenes that they were in.
Yes. Okay, but then again, David Lynch he probably was able to.
Well, does it comfort you at all to know that in the original series that was the same thing?
Really?
Yeah, they never got the full script.
Yes, that definitely.
I mean, they did towards the beginning of season 1, but once it hit season 2, no, they only got their scenes.
I'm one of those people who would a lot of people hate me for this, but I like season 2 more than season 1.
Why?
I think that the connection for between the Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, it just has a lot more power. I am not a fan of the later half as much until the very last 4 episodes, but I do I find it more powerful that it has this tied in book to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're totally amped up about obviously the new season. How are you watching it tomorrow? Are you watching it by yourself, having a party? What are you doing?
Well, I watched it with my mom, so we're going to watch it together, and we're going to have creamed corn and donut.
Cream corn and donuts. That's
It's a very weird mix. I know.
That's a very weird mix. Yes, definitely.
But
well, is there anything you would like to say to the Twin Peaks community before I move on here? I mean, you're new to this thing, so like, what I mean, what do you think of the Twin Peaks online community?
It's unlike any other fan base because it is instead of just obsessing over the show, people make things out of their obsession,
right?
Which I thought was really cool that they showed that in one of the one of the 3 mini documentary.
Oh yeah, the Phenomenon teasers that
yes
were so wonderful to watch. I'm joking. Yeah, well, seriously, I appreciate you hopping on here real quick and saying hi and telling me what you think about the show. It's always great to meet new fans and all that. So thank you very much. And, continue to watch these shows. Once the new season starts, we'll be talking about the show a lot on here.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All righty. All right, guys. Moving on. If anybody else wants to hop on, let me know and I'll send you the link. All right. Now, let's go through. See if Eric's contacted me yet here. Sorry, guys. Just checking in with everybody. Nope. He hasn't. He's been foiled by the wife. She probably won't let him on. All right. Let's get to... Let's see. That's all this stuff here. Trying to find some cool... Oh yeah, this one. David Lynch's America is wild at heart. That's kind of fun. This is back in the day where there was no internet, so you had to do sometimes microfiche and then print it out. And yeah, David has the ability to see the underbelly without it getting him down. That's true. It's one thing I admired about him back then was that, he wasn't letting things like that get him down. He actually was kind of celebrating everybody, whether they were kind of good or bad. He just kind of loved to explore who everybody was. All right. Ooh, here we go. Who is this from? Oh, this is People Magazine. Okay. So let's get down to the down and dirty here. People Magazine's Fire Walk With Me review. This was written by Tom Galato. All right, here we go. Edgar Allan Poe wrote that the most sublime theme in art is the death of a beautiful woman. Being made to sit through this film would have changed his mind. Get this thing focused here. There we go. What started 2 years ago as a brilliant TV pilot with Lee as velvety teen queen Laura Palmer wrapped in plastic on the banks of a lake now ends up a nauseating bucket of slop. Wow. That's intense. Fire Walk with Me for explanation of title, queried director and co-writer David Lynch, perhaps will make sense to those willfully perverse few who watched all 30 episodes. I'm one of the perverse few of the ABC series about that strange town in the Northwest woods. The movie, which is billed as a prequel, doesn't spend much time on Twin Peaks, actually, losing itself in a series of nightmares and hallucinations that amount to a surrealist psychosexual jumbo sale. Images of a dwarf in a red room, the little boy with a dangerously pointy plaster nose jammed onto his face, the white horse in the bedroom, David Bowie, and of course, the stalking ponytailed creep named Bob. Bob may or may not be Lee's father's alter ego, but he seems intent on doing her harm. Firewalk with Me is a long, obscene tease building to Lee's murder in an abandoned railroad car. It would be a minor plus if Fire Walk with Me, bad as it is, were also instantly forgettable. But it is unnerving and lingeringly nasty, not only because of the violence, brains explode and fingernails get ripped off, but because of Lynch's hypnotically slow pacing and Angelo Badalamenti's throbbing, sinister score, which has the aura of an impending migraine. One particularly exhausting scene, a drugged-out, strobe-lighted party at a roadhouse bar, plays like a music video shot in the outer circles of hell. McLaughlin turns up briefly as coffee-swilling Agent Cooper, but he doesn't even ask for cherry pie. That sounds like a positive review to me. I don't know. But that's funny. You know, it's been interesting watching people turn around and Fire Walk with Me as much as they had. I mean, they went from total nauseating bucket of slop to masterpiece. That's interesting. Here I have some press pictures from Wild at Heart. These are awesome. And my movie theater at the time was giving these out when you went to see the movie, and I took stacks and stacks of them. And when I was a freshman in high school, my entire one of the walls of my room was just these pictures, just side by side, the whole wall. It's kind of funny. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. Snug Dream writes, how long ago do you think the petroglyph map was drawn in the cave? Hawk played there as a kid. I don't know. But I don't think the map was shown, right? It wasn't until Wyndham Earl turned that owl symbol, like broomstick thing out of the wall that it revealed itself. Leonard says, wow, I remember printing out shit like that from the library. I know. That's one of the reasons why I'm going through this stuff, because I was thinking Twin Peaks comes out tomorrow, and it started when I was 14. So I've been thinking about all day long, like where I was then and where I am now. And it's pretty amazing to think that, you know, my God, the camera for some reason just keeps like not getting focused. It's pretty amazing to think where you were then and where you are now and everything in between. Like, you know, any significant others you were with, people you've shown Twin Peaks to, the periods in time where you didn't think about the show just because it was over, it was done with, and you didn't think it was going to happen again. So you moved on with your life. You watched other movies, other TV shows. It was great. And then you just kept coming back to the show. So yeah, it's pretty amazing to think about it. I even went on a walk in the woods today just to kind of get myself mentally there. It was kind of fun. All right, here. What do we got here? Oh, this is cute. This is a thing about Miguel Ferrer back in 1992 when they were promoting On the Air. This came out of the TV Guide. Interesting here, they interviewed David Lynch about it. And it says, David Lynch on the Air. It's a wacko, goofball, good-natured comedy celebrating the absurd. There's nothing too complex about it, but people will have to watch the TV. They can't wander off or go outside. Then it says on his film Fire Walk with Me. At first, the MPAA rated the film NC-17. I explained to them that some of the things they were concerned had already appeared on TV. They reconsidered and gave it an R without any cuts. Yep. And what did you guys think of On the Air? Did you guys like the show? I love the pilot. I think the pilot is fantastic, absolutely hilarious. But I do find the show kind of hard to sit through. But I don't know. I mean, I'm just curious what you guys think about it. This is great. This came out of Sunday paper, out of this thing called Parade. And this is where they're talking to Lenny Van Dolen, who played Harold Smith. And they're talking about Fire Walk with Me. And it says, Lenny Von Dolen, who played Harold Smith in Twin Peaks, will repeat his role in the film version. Let's see, Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me will cover the last 7 days leading up to Laura Palmer's murder. And as the keeper of Laura's diary and her secrets, Harold Smith holds clues to that mystery. Yeah, it's kind of a shame that he was only in like one scene, but hey, I understand that why, but it would have been great to see him in more. Lenny says, Laura is his peephole to the world. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to fix this damn camera. All right. She lives a daring, bold existence. Laura could be in control sexually with him more than she could with the other men in her life. Well, we certainly didn't see that in the movie. It says Lenny Von Dolen did not work with David Bowie or Kiefer Sutherland. But he says, because of the nature of my part, Harold Smith's apartment was my set from which I did not roam. He adds that David Lynch wouldn't want him to say any more about the plot. What he will say is, David encourages you to do an aesthetic striptease. Our scene together was so intense, Cheryl and I were both shaking when we finished. And out of the corner of my eye, I could see David doing a leprechaun sort of jig. Oh my. And just see David Lynch doing a little dance. Let's see. Oh, Snug says, do you think Sarah had visions because she was pregnant with Laura and Laura was conceived while Bob was in Leland? It's interesting theory. I don't know if we have a timeline for that, but interesting. Leonard says, for a time in the early 90s, they switched from microfiche to CD-ROM, and they let you print out pages like that at my local library. Yeah, not at mine. It was all microfiche. Cowboy says, Fire Walk with Me is the best prequel I've ever seen. Yeah, and Lynch made it at a time when people didn't even know what a prequel was. Leonard says, Fire Walk with Me was the prequel we couldn't appreciate and didn't deserve. SPF says, I really hope they don't scrap Earl and the Dugpa Cave. Snug Dream writes, the trees around the oil red room entrance looked young or dead. They were not as tall as the rest of the trees in the woods. They were drawn on an old cave wall map, though. Leonard says, America didn't give On the Air a chance, but it was great. It was still too far ahead of its time, even now. Jay says, perhaps MAGA. Make America Garmin Bozia again. Reggie says, if Twin Peaks continue without Lynch directing, who would you want to helm the show? My second pick would be Mark Frost. I think that his finale he did for season 1 is phenomenal. I think it's great. It's not Lynch. He doesn't have the Lynch touch, but he still delivered a compelling hour of television that is so airtight that you can't even, you're on pins and needles. Can't wait to see the season 2 premiere. So that's who I would give it to. In fact, when Lynch first jumped off the project, I remember thinking, just let Frost do it. Just let Frost do it so we can continue. I don't want to see this show get scrapped. But then Lynch came back, so all was good. Let's see. Michael says, I tried watching it on the air when it was on TV, but it was so ridiculous in its silliness that I couldn't even sit through it. And Leonard says, America needs our Garmin Bozia. Oh, yes, they do. All right, let's see what anything here. That's another copy of Lenny Von Dolan. Let's see. Oh, here's a whole thing about Barry Gifford when it was Wild at Heart was being made. This is before he wrote Lost Highway with David Lynch. Oh, and here's the back cover for Godfather 3. I gotta tell you, I'm fascinated by Godfather 3, by everything, the whole production. Maybe I'll do a video about that someday. And oh my god, when was this? November 19th, 1990. Wow. So this is right after the murder was discovered. It was Leland, but before Tim Hunter's final episode, I think, or right around that time. It says, from peaks to valleys, does anyone still care who killed Laura Palmer? I cared. Still do. But hopefully the new series moves on a little bit. I don't want to just be hanging out with Laura Palmer the whole time. Oh, yeah. Here we go. This whole thing of... yeah, this whole thing, I think this was at the... Yeah, this is when Lynch was doing Lost Highway. And yeah, I mean, they talk about like all his work in here, and one of it was Hotel Room. It says the opening visuals and voiceover are so pretentious that you figure Lynch must be onto himself this time. And then Fire Walk with Me. Vincent Canby, they quote it saying, "It's not the worst movie ever made. It just appears to be." Well, yeah. And he talks about Dune. It says Dune cut me off at the knees, maybe even a little higher. Oh, and then this one, I think Mel, who said this? I don't know if it was Mel Brooks or somebody said it. This one says, he'll never go overground again. Like he was just content and staying in his little moderate film budget world so that he never got messed with again by studios. There's some Fire Walk with Me reviews that I went over with Eric a few days ago, or a few podcasts ago. So if you guys want to see those, just go back. If you don't want to go through all of them, but I think I have the John Simon reviews of Blue Velvet. Those are worth reading. Let me tell you. Yeah, here's Richard Corliss, I think it's Time Magazine, about Wild at Heart. This handsome, volcanically violent road movie is Lynch's first flat-out comedy. Yeah. Let's see. And then more Twin Peaks. Peaking at the New Peaks. April 23rd, 1990. TV's leap into the unknown. ABC hopes its avant-garde Twin Peaks will win back upscale viewers. Well, it certainly did, for a time being at least. Oh, here it is, right here. That's exactly what I was hoping to find. Oh my lord. Oh my god, if you have not read John Simon's Blue Velvet review, holy crap. This thing is out of control. November 7, 1986. He writes, David Lynch's previous films were Racerhead, A Gross Out for Cultists, and the inept and contemptible Elephant Man. And Dune. True pornography, which does not pretend to be anything else, has at least that shred of honesty to recommend it. Blue Velvet, which pretends to be art and is taken for it by most critics, has dishonesty and stupidity as well as grossness on its conscience. That the film deals without much explicitness, but with maximal striving for sexual arousal, with sadomasochism, voyeurism, latent homosexuality, fetishism, and whatnot would be fine if the goal were insight rather than titillation or shock. And though it makes no sense on either the psychological or the narrative plane, the writer-director's wish fulfillment fantasy Blue Velvet pretends to comment on small-town American mores. Add to this Lynch's primitive dialogue, jokes that in most cases are not intentional but are pathetic either way, poor staging of individual scenes, and garish cinematography. And you have the archetype of a film in which mindlessness, pretension, and ineptitude vie for supremacy. David Lynch is a naif from Montana who wants to be deep, but whose depth consists of drawing huge sexual organs on a Norman Rockwell painting, and of allowing his protagonist and alter ego Jeffrey Beaumont from Lumberton, Middle America, hidden sadistic urges. Big deal. Yeah, and it just goes on from there. Oh my god, you guys should totally just check that out sometime. Find that on the internet. Here's another one about Twin Peaks. Kinder, gentler male bonding. That's fun. Made a big deal about that. Friendship. And then, of course, Wild at Heart. Sex, violence, and rock and roll wins at Cannes. Let's see. Again, they say that, oh, it's playing at the same time as Back to the Future 3. Oh my god. Okay. You want to talk about racism? What magazine is this? U.S. News. This is U.S. News and World Report. August 24th, 1992. So they're talking about the Twin Peaks craze that's happening in Japan. And, of course, Laura Palmer. The article is called The TP Furiku Just Love. Let's get this straight. There we go. Can we focus on that? Come on. They just love Rora Pama. Oh my lord. Can you believe that? Just flat out, the TP Fukuru just love Rora Pama. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. They would be killed today if they did something like that. Let's see here. Okay. This is what I was talking about yesterday. This is from 1993 Motion Picture Guide Annual. Okay. And they're talking about Fire Walk with Me. It says, because this is something that they don't say very much, but here it is right here. It's getting to be an old story, but Fire Walk with Me underwent some drastic trimming before reaching American screens, losing 20 minutes of its original running time after it was booed off screens at the world premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. What's left isn't that bad, but it's far from Lynch's best work. So it's true. We've been thinking for a long time that the Cannes cut was longer, but we didn't have any definitive proof, but we had heard rumors that it was true. This confirms it. 20 minutes longer at the Cannes Film Festival in 1992. I wonder what 20 minutes they had in there. That's really interesting. Wow. Unbelievable. It's more Wilder art stuff, which is kind of cool. Excuse me. Just, I mean, you have to understand. I mean, you're interested in this, in these articles, and these people, and the show, that you're going down to the public library and just printing off whatever you can. For those of you who don't know, there's a wonderful movie called Zelly and Me. I have a laser disc of it back there. I'm going backwards here. That's a Vita, but right behind it, Zelly and Me. And in that movie, Isabella Rossellini's in it, and her love interest is played by David Lynch. So yes, if you want to see David Lynch play a romantic lead or a supporting romantic lead, check out Zelly and Me. It was directed by Tina Rathborn, who went on to do the Laura Palmer funeral episode in Twin Peaks season 1. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're talking about Wild at Heart and Twin Peaks, and says Lynch has not committed to another film yet, but with his directing fee in the $1 million+ range, he doesn't have to worry about running out of cash. I like this where he says, I like things that go into hidden, mysterious places I want to explore that are very disturbing. In that disturbing thing, there is sometimes tremendous poetry and truth. Huh. Okay, here is Entertainment Weekly. Was this Entertainment or was this People Magazine? I can't remember. But, you know, we had Lethal Weapon 3 coming out. We had Batman Returns. We had Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. And down here, here's Fire Walk with Me. That's how they advertised it. So small. Oh, and then, of course, John Simon did his Wild at Heart review. And his Wild at Heart review is just called Droopy Loves Drippy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, this guy. So, Wild at Heart is a cul-de-sac of a road movie in which nothing leads anywhere or makes the barest minimum of sense. And then I grabbed a French magazine. Which one is this? Cinema and Art. Because this was, I mean, I don't know, you guys have probably seen this picture, but this was the originating place of this picture of Cooper and the little man on the set of Fire Walk with Me. And then I came across, I don't have them all, but I came across just a bunch of wrapped in plastic covers here. And let's see. Oh, look at this. This is a nice picture of Cheryl Lee. We have this one, a Richard Beamer interview, and a very cute shot of Major Namek back there. And let's see. Lost Highway. And Lynch making the straight story. Plus Everett McGill interview. That's fun. And then the Grace Zabriskie interview. Those are all the wrapped in plastics I could find. I found them in like a used like comic book store a long time ago. And never been able to find any others, but if I did, I probably would pick them up by now. Yeah, here's a TV guide review of Fire Walk with Me. I read that a couple podcasts ago with Eric. Look at this gorgeous picture of Laura Dern. Oh my goodness. She's gorgeous in that picture. And then we have, let's see. Oh, this was the Twin Peaks crossword puzzle. Yeah, someone should take a nice screenshot of that and post that online or something so people can play it. All right. And of course, the infamous Rolling Stone. As you can tell, this is definitely an original. Look at this thing. It's been traveling with me for 27 years. And then, let's see. Yeah, David Lynch brings his weird and magical vision to prime time. They call him the Kid from Mars. If one thing I like about the new press for the new Twin Peaks is they're not doing that kind of stuff, you know. He's not Jimmy Stewart from Mars anymore, you know. Says Twin Peaks has already been hailed as a series that will change TV, but first it must attract an audience, which may prove a tall order. Little did they know. Oh, here's another Wild at Heart. Oh, sorry, Fire Walk with Me one. Says, he has simply remained David Lynch, a supreme stylist obsessed with working through the dark themes that matter to him. And like all artists, he is subject to varying degrees of success. Says, and though the movie ups the TV ante on nudity, language, violence, Lynch's control falters. But if inspiration is lacking, talent is not. With Fire Walk with Me, count Lynch down, but not out. Oh, I don't even remember seeing this one. Oh, this is the Fire Walk with Me review from the Christian Science Monitor. Did they hate it? I don't think they did. Well, it just says Fire Walk with Me is a sign that self-imitation is becoming Lynch's favored mode. At times, notably during fantasy and hallucination scenes, the picture veers into outright weirdness, but Lynch still handles this material better than anyone else could. Says, it's hard to figure David Lynch out. Is he one of the most audacious and original talents in American film today, or is he one of the least? The question is prompted by Fire Walk with Me. Judged by the standards of ordinary filmmaking, it's as strange, suggestive, and surreal as other Lynch pictures have been. Judged from the standards of Lynch's own career, it's amazingly stale and second-rate. Surrealism isn't surreal when it's made from recycled nightmares. Wow. I mean, I do understand, you right? I mean, because Fire Walk with Me, as great as it is, it doesn't really push the boundaries in some areas, right? I mean, like the TV, like Black Lodge scenes are much more outlandish than anything we get in Fire Walk with Me. So you would think the big screen film would be even more crazy, but it's not. It feels even more restrained. It's more inward, which is obviously the point. But people don't go to the movies to see. They didn't go see Fire Walk with Me wanting to see an Ingmar Bergman inward film. They wanted to see. The last thing they saw in the theaters was Wild at Heart. They wanted an explosive, big, epic Laura Palmer Twin Peaks movie, and that's not what we got. And some people turned on it, rightly or wrongly, but they did. All right, this was another way. I mean, you've seen this picture a million times, but this was one of the big pictures they used to promote Fire Walk with Me. The Laura and James on the bike. It's fun going through memory lane. I don't know how much fun it is for you guys watching, but it's fun to do this. Yeah, because Film Comment did a huge thing on Fire Walk with Me, and I mean, they do kind of bring up some really interesting points in here. This is from, what was this from? June 1993, and yeah, one of the things they write is says yeah, it's depressing to think that Fire Walk with Me is the major motion picture Twin Peaks movie that Lynch yearned to make. Yeah, that was of course a gorgeous photo from that infamous scene. Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. Because Mark Frost did The Secret History of Twin Peaks. This is from 1993. It says David Lynch's Secret History of the United States. And there's Gordon Cole and Ronald Reagan. And then Cooper and Laura. Obviously. Yeah. Try to get a hold of this magazine. I thought that they did a really nice job with those articles in there. This one says, David Lynch is on the air. Stupid. Stupid, menace, and or just appalling. Yes to all of the above. And yeah, a couple more Fire Walk with Me ones. This one, big screen Twin Peaks stuck in a rut. This one, they this one they gave it one star. But my favorite quote was, as Laura does drugs and whores around, the film degenerates into another moralizing slasher film. Think David Lynch's Friday the 13th or Prom Night. That would have been amazing. I mean, seriously, like Fire Walk with Me is not that, but the way they describe that, it made me so excited. I'm like, David Lynch just made a slasher movie. I don't know, just made me more excited. This was from my local paper where it says Fire Walk with Me delivers for Peaks Freaks only. And this is dated August 29th, 1992. Says, yeah, Fire Walk with Me begins with someone smashing a TV set with a lead pipe, which represents David Lynch's message to the medium where this material originated. It ends with murdered homecoming queen Laura Palmer laughing, which represents his message to us. Think about it. The TV series started with the discovery of Laura's dead body. The movie all but ends with her plastic wrapped corpse being placed in the water. It purports to tell us what happened before the murder, but only Peaks Freaks would care, and they already know. The series laid out the scenario, and it was amplified by Laura's diary and Agent Cooper's tapes and the merchandising of the show. So why is this movie necessary? Because there may be enough Peaks Freaks who will pluck down enough bucks to see it again. No wonder Laura is laughing. Says even Cooper is a drag, not to mention the fact that he shows up in places where he has no business being, and if we are to believe the chronology of the series. But that just may be Lynch burning his last bridge. And this is from October 1992. Twin Peaks, Firewalk with Me, Cooper and Company kick Ash in Firewalk with Me. This is a very good issue. I really liked it. This is also when Sam Raimi was making a little movie called The Medieval Dead at the time, which then became Army of Darkness. But it was originally called The Medieval Dead, which I like that title. Yeah, this one goes into the Lynch mob strikes back. And this is interesting because, again, they have this whole thing of the show. I'm sorry, about the movie, about them getting the script early. And that's fascinating. And then they do this breakdown of all the episodes. What do they say about the finale? It says it's just called What? Says the end raises more questions than answers as the series' two best directors, because they played the last two episodes as a TV movie, can't wrangle the tangled storyline. Says even Lynch's maze-like capper or crapper in the Red Room reeks of recycled weirdness from previous episodes. Bob takes Cooper's soul at the end, and it just doesn't work. Interesting. And then they even have a nice interview with like Frank Silva in here. And then here's Laura's. This is when she's against the wall making that weird smile. And the missing pieces. Says why didn't they just make why did they make a prequel instead of a sequel? And Robert Engel says, this may sound like bullshit, but there really wasn't a conscious decision about which was the coolest story. It was just kind of what we arrived at. The challenge was that everyone already knows how it ends. We had to turn that into a strength, as opposed to people sitting there thinking this is kind of dumb. Says Twin Peaks spawned enough red herrings in its 28 installments to stock Puget Sound, and most of them, including the Bookhouse Boys and UFOs, won't be brought in by the film. Bob Engel says, we pondered whether or not we should let people see Diane, but I don't want to let that one out. And then Film Threat says, but we do. Although we did not get a screen of Firewalk with Me, we got the script. I mean, it's amazing, right? They're sending out the scripts to people. And then, but this is weird, though, because it says, where is it? Okay. Bob Engel says, moviegoers, let me focus this here. Moviegoers should be able to enjoy Firewalk with Me without having seen the series. To ensure that the screenplay stood firmly on its own while remaining true to Twin Peaks, the script was flagged by several non-viewers as well as diehard fans. In addition, a researcher was hired to check the consistency of the storyline with The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer and the tapes of Agent Cooper and other literary spin-offs. Bull S-H-I-T. Come on. They did not do any of that stuff. Yeah. It says, while the reviews that came out of Cannes last spring, much like those for Wild at Heart, were decidedly mixed, the actors and technicians who have worked with David Lynch are proud that they have helped define the term Lynchian. If anyone gave him credit for making the avant-garde accessible, for bringing it into a place where people could appreciate it, I don't think he'd apologize for it. In fact, If that's what Lynchian means, David Lynch would say, "That's aces, man." Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I don't really know what else to talk about unless we have some comments. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up here. It's kind of a low-key episode tonight, but thanks for sticking with me, guys. Where are we here? Sorry, I'm going back. Iman says Todd Holland was another good director on the show. Yes, he was. He was great. Actually, Todd Holland? You mean is it Todd Holland? Really? I'm trying to think. I think you're talking about the guy who did River's Edge, Tim Hunter, or are you talking about Todd Holland? You're probably right about Todd Holland. It's just late, and I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm spacing out on who that is. Let me know which episode he directed. I don't want to read anything about the Yahoo stuff. Reggie says Gordon Cole should replace James Comey. Well, if you tweet to Donald Trump that, he probably would. Hire David Lynch to run the FBI. Wouldn't that be something? Leonard says Sophia Copeland, Godfather 3, ha ha ha, but she did at least go on to make Virgin Suicides and Lost in Translation. Family Guy says, did Siskel and Ebert review Fire Walk with Me? No, they didn't. Ebert never even did a proper review for it. Jan says, do you think Frank, the mystery man, and Bob are all the same type of entity or related in some way? No, I think the mystery man is definitely from the Black Lodge, though, for sure. He would definitely fit in that above the convenience store scene. Ross Fisher says, who the hell was titillated by Blue Velvet? What an idiot. Oh, yeah, the reviews only get crazier from there, so I just read you some highlights there. Family Guy says, track down someone who was at Cannes and see if they can remember what was there. Leonard says, Cannes viewers were shitty Twin Peaks fans. They probably had never even seen Twin Peaks. They probably were just like, what the hell? Let's see. They're going on about Bob and the mystery man here. Snipe Dream says, Major Briggs' long-range scanners pointed outward to space, but picking up something coming from them in the middle of the woods. Freaky. Wonder what that means. Okay. Otto Frisk says, as an original 1990 viewer of Twin Peaks, I envy you guys. Central European premiere of the new season is tomorrow from 3 to 5 a.m. So I'll have to watch in the evening after at least 20 hours after you. And we get only 2 episodes if we want to stay in legal waters, avoiding torrents and such things. Well, I know that Sky Atlantic is like going to be showing 3 and 4. But if you don't get Sky Atlantic there, I understand. Leonard says, Dano says, do you think the new Twin Peaks would have come back without DVD, Blu-ray, and Netflix success? No, it wouldn't have. Let's see. Jan says, I doubt it will make that much money. I think only true fans will stay with the show till the end. Yeah, probably, but I guess we'll wait and see. You never know. People stick through all of Game of Thrones. Let's see if people stick through this. Let's see. Jan says, why is Laura laughing so much at the end of Fire Walk with Me? It can't be because of the angel. I rewatched it today and she's looking at something else. Well, according to that newspaper reviewer, she's laughing towards us because we paid to see Fire Walk with Me. Oh, God. Dano says, I think Showtime is banking on initial overexcitement of casual viewers, and then they'll be left with the hardcore fans only. Yeah, I really do think that you're going to get a huge boom tomorrow. And then around, I would say by episode 6, episode 7, you're going to start seeing people trailing out, unless it's just so compelling that casual viewers stay with it. I really do think that we're going to get another replay of what happened between season 1 and season 2 over the next 4 months. We're just going to see it fall, and maybe people will come back for the ending, maybe not. But I just have this feeling. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I just have this feeling like it's just gonna tank in ratings after like the 5th week, and it'll level out with just all of us. Leonard says, I think Lynch is going to be getting away with some subversive shit that Showtime isn't aware of. Probably. Let's see. Stung Dream says, the little man said he is known to us here, referring to the giant. That makes me think the giant is something separate from the spirits. There are also references to giant owls. Family Guy says, when your name becomes an adjective, you know you've made it, meaning Lynchian. Reggie says, Cameron, you mentioned in a past video about contacting Lynch Frost Productions about making a Cooper and Earl prequel film. That was a pretty cool idea. How far did that go? That was back in 2006, and it got as far as asking about who do I talk to about getting the rights to make a short film about it. And it was then that I heard that they weren't releasing the rights or anything like that because they were in the progress of figuring out what to do next with Twin Peaks, which at that time was going to be a graphic novel. But even back then, I had heard that there was possible rumblings about they wanted to move forward with something. So I just kind of backed off and let them do their thing. But Todd Matthews is just wanting to watch this new pilot as a group watch online. The problem with that is, we would be watching it completely silent because you can't play the sound on YouTube. So that would be kind of horrible to watch it for the first time like that. Maybe we could do a group commentary. That would be fun, but that would be like, a few weeks down the line. But Leonard says, despite the Showtime guy having F. Bacon paintings in his disgustingly expensive office, he's too dumb to get when Lynch is trolling him. This season will be very meta. Interesting. Apparently Holland directed episode 4 and 13 of season 2. Okay. Awesome. Well, he did a good job because I like those episodes. I like all the episodes, but let's see. Yeah, I don't think there's really a bad episode in a Twin Peaks. I mean, I think there might be a bad you may not like the little Niggy stuff or some of the James and Evelyn stuff, but the overall episodes, I don't think you can say there's an overall bad episode. There's always something in there to like. Leonard says, thanks, Cameron. You're the fucking man. I don't know what you're talking about with that, but I will take the compliment. Thank you very much. So anyway, all right. I've been on here for about 2 hours now, I think. And really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. And yeah, I'm just exhausted, man. I've been doing these Twin Peaks videos all week long. And then the other day reading the screenplay. Oh my God, I'm surprised I even have a voice. But I want to go and get some sleep and be ready for the new show. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm debating, depending on my time, I'm debating about maybe doing a pre-show before the episodes start, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to see what's going on there. I might just do a video. I don't know. There will be a video tomorrow at some point, but just be on the lookout. Turn on your notifications, and we'll see when I have some free time. One day, holy shit. Oh, it's less than a day now. And I don't know. I mean, like when they play at East Coast, is the West Coast gonna get it dropped online at 6 o'clock? Then that gives me 19 hours until I'm seeing it, which is insane. Jan says, thank you. You've helped me get through this week. You guys have helped me get through this week because you guys have given me something to do. That's awesome. Song Aid says, yes, this was a fast 26 years. Whew. Yeah, tell that to all the jobs I've worked at, all the girlfriends I've had, or past people I've dated and all that, my wife and all that. It's amazing how much life has changed between where you were then, where you are now. It's a little scary. I mean, to think about just how much life has changed in that gap of time. So anyway, thank you guys. I know this was a very, very low key episode, and I was wanting to do some other stuff tonight, but unfortunately time always plays a factor. But anyway, I just wanted to pop on here and talk with you guys about Twin Peaks and maybe go through some memory lane stuff, which was fun to do, and hopefully was okay for you guys as well. But really appreciate your kindness and support, your wonderful words. Please be sure to like these videos, give them a thumbs up if you like them, subscribe to the channel, let people know about the videos, and it's time to rock, man. We're getting very close. Every second is taking us a second closer, and I cannot believe we're here. Oh my God. Let me read that thing again from Mashable for anybody new that wasn't here, because this just makes me so happy to see this. They write, here's what I feel at liberty to say about these new episodes. And this is not spoilers, so don't worry. David Lynch has lost nothing. In fact, he's learned some new tricks, refined other ones, maybe even found the height of his powers. This new Twin Peaks is no mere revisitation. This is new ground broken. And if you feel goosebumps as you read this, good. You're going to need them because it is happening again. I cannot believe it. Did they really do it? They really pull it off? I mean, we all thought, oh, of course they pulled it off, but to hear that they pulled it off, oh my, I'm literally, I'm turning into those people at the end of that episode with Cooper and Annie. Everybody's shaking. Oh my Lord, look at me. I'm just like, I'm so excited. This is so incredible. Yeah. Wow. Okay, let me see these final comments here before I go. SPF says maybe David Lynch is pouring his whole soul into this. Sounds like it. SPF says it's cool they spoiled nothing. Unparalleled hype. Dino says, thanks, Cameron. I hope to tune in tomorrow. Shit is getting serious. Oh, yeah. Exploding Nightmare says, I just want to say that Obnoxious Anonymous has been my go-to for all things Peaks. Happy that there isn't an over-chipper chick babbling using buzzwords for description. Oh, so you don't want some like flashy model girl like, hey, I know everything about Twin Peaks. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about David Lynch and Mark Frost and how wonderful they were in 1990. And no. We try to bring on real people to talk about this and other topics as well. One of these days, I will make another video about another topic on this channel. But for right now, we're in Twin Peaks Mania. That's what we're doing. So SPF says, TP changed my life, and it might again, which is crazy. Don't go into the show expecting your life to change. Just be open to the possibilities. SPF says it's not neat to see the show we love on the cusp of being a huge thing again. I agree, but let it be a huge thing in your heart. Don't let the world out there again dictate, what is important and what's not. Right? Because we went through this one time before when it was on, and we loved the show despite what others said. So if people love it, great. If they don't love it, great. As long as we love it, that's what matters. And Leonard says he has goose motherfucking bumps. Amen. We all do. All right, guys. On that note, you guys take it easy. Have a wonderful night. get some sleep, rest up, get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day. It is happening again. I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Thank you again for everything. It's wonderful and a pleasure to be here with you, talking Twin Peaks, talking David Lynch, Mark Frost, and everything that accompanies that world. It's here, guys. See you tomorrow.